All right, fellows, it has been a long time since I've made one of these videos. I feel like the spring was like 100 years ago now. Maybe it seems that way to you guys. I know I've seen some of you, I've talked to some of you, but everybody's kind of scattered, and some of you are playing ball, some of you are working, some of you are working out, some of you are doing a little bit of all of it. But whatever you've been doing over the summer, it's getting close to the end, and it won't be too much longer, and we'll be back on campus. Everybody will be back, and so I know coaches are probably excited for that, and I'm excited to see you guys and see where this year takes all of us. So I wanted to start doing these videos. I meant to do this earlier in the summer and just didn't get it going, but I'm gonna try to do one once a week for the rest of the summer, and then we'll just kind of see how that goes as far as getting into lunches and stuff on Mondays and things like that. But I wanted to talk for a few weeks just about leadership stuff, because with a new year, lots of changes have happened, and so want to just give you some thoughts on being a leader. And obviously this matters for so much in your life, not just baseball. But anyway, if you can think back to the Old Testament, if you've ever heard of King David, there was a period of time where he was anointed as king, and he was very young, and he was going to be the king, but there was another guy already in that spot, a guy named Saul. And so Saul was on the throne. He had the title of king, but David, after he defeated Goliath and started winning all these battles against the Philistines, he became the man of influence. And then people looked to him more than they looked to Saul. And there's some rivalry stuff there, and all kinds of stuff. There's a couple times Saul tried to pin David to the wall with a spear. Different situations like that happened. But David had the influence for being a leader. The people responded to him, and they were excited about what he was doing for their country and where he was leading them, even though Saul had the title. And so leadership doesn't necessarily just mean, and you know this, that just because you have a doctor in front of your name, or a reverend, or a coach, or whatever, it doesn't mean you're a great leader. It just means you have the authority, you have the title, but your influence, like who you are as a person and how you lead, that makes you a great leader. And so, you may be one of the older guys, maybe you were a starter last year or whatever. Well, it doesn't matter. It's a brand new year. Things need to change probably in some ways, and some things need to carry over. But regardless, it's a new time, and it's a brand new team, even though some of the same people are going to be there. And so this is an opportunity for many of you to step up and to lead in ways that you haven't before. And so, and in even not just on your team, but in other parts of your life, I think these things we're going to talk about real quick here have to do with leadership and how you lead, whether you own a business, or you're talking about being a husband and a dad, or whatever it is that you end up doing. Your leadership, how you lead, is going to matter. And so for David, and to be the guy of influence, right? There's a few things that he did well, and the first one was that he created unity within the country. He rallied the people together, and they came together. When he would win battles, they were all excited. I mean, they were pumped up about their nation, and so he wasn't really an agent of division. Now Saul didn't like him, but there wasn't a whole lot of people, it didn't seem like, that were loyal to Saul. The people really responded to David. Now Saul commanded some authority, and he had the authority of some of the army, but the people responded to David. And so I just want you to think about that, like on the team. And it doesn't matter how old you are, if you're brand new, or if you're like a, 7th year COVID red shirt senior, whatever, kind of thing. However you qualify, wherever your eligibility is. Are you creating unity? Are you creating division? That's important and essential as a leader, that you have to create unity. You find ways to do that. create unity on the team. It's a big team, 30 something guys, whatever. Not everybody's going to be alike. People are going to have different interests, but what can you be unified around? So creating unity as opposed to creating division. And division is easy to create. Unity is a little harder. So think through what that looks like. The second thing is to identify with your team, and a little bit of this is it has to do with unity as well. When you identify with your teammates, you create common ground. Like, what are the things that you can come together on? How can the rest of your team see you as part, not just maybe a person in leadership, but also just realize that you're one of the dudes. And how do you do that in a way that you can identify with everybody? I mean, there's got to be something besides baseball and going to college that all of y'all have in common, or that you, maybe as a leader, if you're one of those that it's your time to step up, that you have in common with everybody. Find the common ground and seek to build those relationships up. The fall is a great time to do that. I know the coaches know what they're doing. They're going to spend time getting you guys to bond and kind of figuring out who's going to be the leaders. So do that over the fall. Find that common ground with folks. Spend time with dudes that you don't normally spend time with. Get to know them. See where this whole thing can go. But find common ground. Identify with the rest of your team. The third thing is that you have to have credibility if you're going to be an influential leader. You can have a title, you can hold a position, but if people don't buy into who you are, then they don't care, right? They're not going to follow you. Getting credibility, like working hard, doing the little things. I don't know a whole lot. I mean, I wasn't even around you guys much in the fall, but just being there at the beginning of the spring and then watching things the whole way through the season, there were guys that were in their first year that by the end of the season, they were coming around as leaders because a lot of the little things that they did well, and that they didn't neglect responsibilities, and they were the attitude guys and stuff like that. That is so important. So as a leader, if you're really going to be a leader this year, are you doing the little things well? Are you working hard? Are you putting in the time? Do you have credibility as a solid teammate? You're going to need that if you're going to lead. The fourth thing is the anointing. David was God's anointed leader. He was the chosen king of Israel. David had God's blessing. That was where the direction God was going to take the country. And what I would say to you guys is how well do you work on your relationships with Fed and with the staff? I mean, do you value their opinion? Do you listen well? Do you realize that those men have good things that they can pass on to you, and do you let them do it? I mean, do you have the blessing of the coaching staff? That's important. I mean, not to be the favorite or anything like that, but are you a guy that they look at and go, yeah, that's a guy that could speak for our team. That's a guy that can lead us. Do you have their blessing? Those relationships are important. I mean, you have your brothers, right? We've talked about that before, but also, how's your relationship with the coaches? How does that work as you guys go forward as a team? And then the last one is partnership with other leaders, right? That's something that's really important. This may be your year to step up and be the lead dog. Maybe it is, all right? But that doesn't mean there's not going to be other guys that are going to be leading in different ways. You got people playing different positions. You got outfielders, infielders, pitchers. You got all that kind of stuff going on. You got guys of different experience and different ages and different years left in the program. So there's going to be people leading in different places throughout the year. There can't really just be one leader, because it's going to take a lot of you, I would think. But if you're in that spot though, where you may be like one of the main leaders, how well are you working with the other people, the other big voices on the team, the other ones that people rally around? Are you working together for the good of who you guys can be as a baseball team? So the last thing that I would say is that whether you are the newest, youngest dude, or whether you are the oldest, but especially thinking about now though, if you're one of the younger ones and you can't, maybe it's not your place to speak up certain times or whatever, you haven't earned everybody's respect yet, but you can do things now in year one that can help you become a leader when it is your turn to lead on this team. So begin to do those little things well. And then the other thing you can do by doing that, by acting like a leader, by really stepping in and investing in these things, the other thing that you can do is that you make the guys who are leading, you make their job so much easier when you do what you can do well. When you lead well, even from the back, right? Even from the end of the line, even being the youngest, when you do the little things, when you're trying to build good relationships, when you're promoting unity instead of division, when you're doing all those things, even as a young player, you have the opportunity to make a great impact on your team. And so all these videos we're going to do, it's not going to just be about baseball. Like I said, everything in here applies to other parts of your life. I mean, God wants you to be the best person you can be. He's called all of you guys to be men that seek after what he wants. I can promise you that's who you are created to be, a man who will follow God all of his days. And so doing this stuff, leading in other parts of your life matters, not just on the diamond, but everywhere. Have a great rest of the summer. July is still here, so soak up the sun. I know a lot of you aren't taking classes, so enjoy not having classes for a while. But I'm praying for you guys, and I'm excited about being back with you in the fall. So, adios.